Morningbreaker, the wrong side of the bed. Former Princess Celestia was having a wonderful morning. She had woken up near the crack of dawn as usual in order to enjoy watching the sunrise under the power of someone else, though it felt strange to observe her sun slowly ascend over the horizon without having to put it there, and it was also quite a relief. Plus, if she was being honest, the task had grown routine over the centuries, and twilight brought an extra flair to the job which Celestia hadn't been able to muster in quite some time. With that observation out of the way, the former ruler of Equestria trotted from the balcony back to their hotel room, all the while doing her best to ignore the loud rumbling snoring coming from her sister's room. Though the accommodations were somewhat quaint, especially when compared to the castle, Celestia rather enjoyed staying in a simple hotel. Though this one had 2 private bedrooms, the living room, kitchen, and eating area all being rolled into a single space. It wasn't exactly a place Celestia would like to stay for an extended period, but they weren't going to be here for much longer. Just enough time to go attend a festival, see the Manhattan sights, and have a little time to simply mingle with her fellow ponies. That last one was perhaps the most important in the Alicorn's mind, as she felt as though she was growing away from the common pony in the last century. Though still only half awake, Celestia chose to forego her morning tea, for it wouldn't be very long until Twilight joined them for breakfast. The busy ruler always seemed to have time for them, and Celestia wasn't about to turn down the wonderful company. Glancing at the clock, the Alicorn quickly realized that there wasn't much time before her guest arrived, so she hastily made her way into the bathroom in order to make herself presentable. Though there wasn't enough time to have a full shower, Celestia could at least wash her face, check her makeup, and ensure that she didn't look as awful as she felt. Turning the taps, Celestia ran the water for a moment while she searched for her face cloth, only to stop when her gaze landed on the mirror. Terror slowly gripped her heart as the mare came face to face with a visage clearly not of her own. It was a set of features that she had seen before, many times actually, but only in her darkest of dreams and most unpleasant of nightmares. Flames had replaced her hair, while her eyes had become dark, twisted, and much like nightmare moons, only a blazing orange. Large sharp fangs jutted from her muzzle, and on her flanks were slightly larger images of a blazing sun. How she had not noticed such a change until that moment was beyond her, as she didn't exactly feel very different. Immediately, Celestia frantically tried to figure out what had happened to cause such a transformation, starting with her dreams, in which they had been fairly normal. She had been flying above Equestria and had passed over many towns as well as the odd village. So had that feeling of ownership, of pride, prompted such a change? Or perhaps it was something else. The pony plugged the sink with a stopper, and after it was filled, dunked her head inside. The wide, deep sink was just big enough to fill the Alicorn's cranium within, and after a few seconds, she pulled back, only to find that she had not in fact dispelled the twisted features of the evil creature looking back at her.
Oh no, oh no, oh no,
Celestia muttered, poking and pulling at her features in a panic.
I can't let Twilight see me, but if I cancel, she would think that something was wrong and probably burst in anyway.
The pony frowned, her panic briefly being replaced by regret.
I really should have worked on that girl's neurosis.
Celestia shook her head.
Thanks, Celestia, think. How do you change back?
The Alicorn mentally flicked through all the many spells that she knew in search of one that may help her, only to end up panicking even more when she realized that none could even assist her.
How did Luna turn back?
She muttered, only for her eyes to go wide in fear.
I am not spending 1,000 years on the sun. Or the moon, for that matter, though it's not like the elements are easily accessible anymore.
Celestia turned and began to pace in the small bathroom.
Twilight's probably already figured out the petrification spell, though there is a chance that she would just simply try to lock me in Tartarus.
The former princess began to chew on her feathers, while internally she was growing increasingly panicked by the second. She didn't want to get blasted, or imprisoned, that much was obvious, but would she, or could she, even fight her students? Of course it was possible, and Celestia would probably win, but there was no way the Alicorn could bring herself to do such a thing. If that option was out, and there was absolutely no way of changing back, then she would just have to... A heavy knock startled Celestia from her thoughts, and made her turn to the door, eyes widening in fear.
Hello? It's, Twilight. I know I'm a bit early, but I was scared the muffins might get cold.
Explained the slightly nervous tone of Celestia's former student.
I should have at least a few minutes. Luna never wakes up early.
Celestia muttered to herself, looking around the room.
Maybe I could make some manner of disguise, or perhaps... Just a second!
Luna shouted from the other room.
Oh no.
Celestia muttered. The alicorn tore the shower curtain from its hooks and fashioned herself a rather silly-looking but efficient shawl. With a few twists of her magic and a little alteration, it had a hood, hugged her body closely, and obscured her tail as well. Pulling the plastic sheet tight around her features, Celestia looked her reflection up and down.
Are you okay in there, sister?
Asked Luna, who knocked on the door a second later.
Is Celestia hurt?
Twilight inquired from outside the hotel room.
I don't know!
Luna shouted before turning back to the bathroom.
Are you okay, Celestia? I'm fine.
Celestia replied, trying to lower her voice just in case it sounded menacing.
She says she's fine.
Luna shouted.
That's great!
Twilight yelled back.
Could you let me in now? Yeah, no!
Celestia exclaimed, only to wince.
I mean, go ahead. I'll be right there. Okay then.
Luna muttered before walking away. Leaving Celestia to peer into the mirror, her confident expression slowly melted away.
There is no way this isn't somehow even more conspicuous.
She muttered to herself. In a fit of rage, she tore the plastic sheet off and threw it into the tub. Now pacing once more, she tried desperately to come up with something, anything that would save her. But nothing came to mind. The alicorn quickly grew more and more desperate until she just collapsed into a heap. Twilight watched Luna curiously as the other alicorn stood smiling outside the bathroom door.
Shh!
Luna retorted, holding a hoof to the younger mare's lips. Twilight frowned and sat there in silence, wondering not for the first time what they were doing. After nearly a minute of quiet, Luna grinned and gave the other pony a nod.
Alright, open it,
she commanded. Twilight shrugged and did just that, revealing a wide-eyed Celestia laying on the floor. The alicorn was curled into a ball, her entire hoof stuffed into her mouth. She didn't even seem to notice the two ponies looking down on her as the former Sun Princess continued to rock back and forth.
What happened?
Twilight asked, turning to Luna.
What did you do? Why is it that whenever anything happens you think I am the cause?
Luna replied with a frown. Twilight merely raised an eyebrow.
Okay, so maybe it was me this time, but it was just a harmless prank.
Luna retorted.
Harmless? Your sister's catatonic!
Twilight deadpanned.
That's nothing. One time she turned me inside out.
Luna replied in a dismissive tone. Twilight sighed and massaged her temples.
Okay, Luna, what did you do? I taught you an important lesson.
Luna claimed, a smile crossing her face.
Even if your idol is susceptible to panic and like you, she sucks her hoof. I do not-
Twilight ground her teeth together angrily.
That did not answer my question.
Luna chuckled and rubbed the back of her neck.
I may have enchanted the mirror so that when she looked within it, it changed her reflection to that of the much-feared Daybreaker.
Twilight sighed slowly.
You know, at this rate you're gonna give your sister a complex. I do not know what a complex is, but it can't be that much worse than the one time that she gave me mono.
Luna retorted, and Twilight swiftly clapped a hoof upside the other pony's head.
Change your back. Oh, can't we just leave her for just like 5 minutes? I really want to have some of those banana chocolate chip muffins that you brought.
Luna inquired.
Celestia always eats them all by the time I wake up. Fix her, or I'm drafting you.
Twilight demanded.
You can't do that. I'm a private citizen over the age of 18 who is in perfect fighting shape.
Twilight finished.
I hear that the deserts of Caracas are wonderful in the summer, and so hot it feels like the sun never sets. You wouldn't.
Luna retorted, eyes narrowing. Again, Twilight merely raised an eyebrow.
Fine! Just save me one of those muffins.
Luna shouted as she trotted into the bathroom.
No one around here can take a joke. Twilight should really take a joke as easy as she takes a dick. But anyway, do you want to have my ass?
Okay, before this goes full ass mode, let's get on to our very bright donators.
Top donators Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, J Tin Man, Darkside, and Ponyman. CourierCruz CI, Strix, Star 630, Narwhals, Delta Omega, Runesec the 9852, Dospo, Rani Dragonwolf, Hunter Norman, Austin Roland, Secret Moon, Tall Rasha, The Toilet Snake, Sword Brethren Mordred, Cerberus, Gulashing Hazar, Ronin Wandering, Endrise 63, Random Person Man Guy, Easy, Starlight Glimmer, Squiddy Boy, David E. Sanchez, Soul Dragon, Gaggy, Trey, Shadow Drake, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, Teal'ca Anderson, TV Killer, John Becker, Leon Reynolds, Raven Speedster, Zach Rakau, Mr. ECU, Leslie Prickett, Edgar Garcia, One Kingdom 1, Nisaru-san, Missouri, Dyslexic Character Sheets, and Just a Random Boy. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Live life to the fullest, and please have my ass. I really—
Okay, I'll stop for now, I'll stop. But trust me, when you have that kind of power, it's hard not to use it.